On this episode of Fact Files, we look at evidence which points to Zambia as home to one of the earliest human species. In 1921, 90 feet beneath the surface, a fossilized skull and other bones were discovered in the Broken Hill lead and zinc mine in what was then Northern Rhodesia. Officially, the skull and bones are said to have been discovered by Swiss mine supervisor Tom Zwigler. However, technically speaking, they were actually discovered by an unnamed African miner under Zwigler's supervision. Zwigler himself initially displayed the skull on a pole to frighten his miners before it was spotted by a doctor who realized its potential significance. Soon after the discovery, the skull and other remains were sent to the United Kingdom by Mr. Ross McCartney, the managing director of the Rhodesia Broken Hill Development Company, for investigation. Subsequently, the skull was donated to London's Natural History Museum, then known as the British Museum Natural History. After study at the Natural History Museum, the skull was deemed to be a rare survival of human species and an important piece for the study of early humankind. In modern times, the skull has been dated to between 324,000 to 274,000 years ago and provides further evidence that humans came out of Africa and that Africa was probably a melting pot of interbreeding human species. The skull is now known as the Broken Hill Skull or the Kabwe Skull, and because of its size, it is assumed to be that of a male, although this is still uncertain. However, what is certain is that the skull is at the center of a long-standing controversy between the UK and Zambian governments regarding how it ended up in the UK and its custody in a British museum. To be sure, at the time of removal from Northern Rhodesia, there existed the Bushman Relics Proclamation, which was a law that required that certain items and objects of antiquity nature could only be taken out of the territory under a permit from the administrator of the British South African Company. Therefore, being part of the objects under protection of this law, the remains of Broken Hill Man required a permit for their flight outside Northern Rhodesia. However, there has been no evidence so far showing that a permit was granted by the company or its agents to export the skull. To this effect, there have been several calls from the Zambian government for the return of the fossil. However, to date, these calls have been unsuccessful, and media reports suggest that the British government is only willing to provide Zambia with the replica. The skull is considered one of the British Museum's greatest treasures, representing invaluable evidence about human evolution. On the other hand, Zambians want the skull back as it is part of Zambia's cultural heritage, which defines the earliest origins of humankind in Zambia and one of the earliest discoveries on the continent of Africa. In July 2019, following a rejected request by the Art newspaper for 3 pages relating to discussions on the return of the skull removed from a 1973 fowl, the Foreign and Commonwealth concluded that releasing the pages would harm UK relations with Zambia and would be detrimental to the operations of government and not in the UK's best interest. In the meantime, a monument to the discovery of the Broken Hill Man has been erected on the grounds of the Civic Centre in Kabwe, with a plaque on the monument written in both English and Bemba. So there you have it. It's a fact. The Broken Hill Skull from Zambia provides evidence of the earliest origins of humankind and one of the earliest discoveries on the continent of Africa.